All right, thanks, guys. The Rockets travel to the capital to take on the Wizards, and that's going to be a 7 p.m. Eastern tip-off in the District of Columbia. The Washington Wizards are the 1.5-point favorite on their home court here. Totals 228, juice to the over. And if you like the visiting Rockets and an upset on the road here, they're plus $1 on the money line. We're 4-0 in our last four $1.99 daily best plays on my website. 7-1 straight up in our last 8 premium sports picks in that very same tier membership. Now, the Rockets have really been struggling lately. They're currently on a 5-game losing streak, 1-6 against the number in their last 7. Unfortunately for Houston backers, Victor Oladipo's out for tonight's action. And the Rockets have also been victorious in just 6 of 15 on the road this season, really struggling away from home. Now, Houston currently finds themselves in the bottom 5 in road offensive rebounding as well. They're taking on a Washington team who's coming fresh off a very nice win against Boston. Held the Celtics to just Celtics to just 91 points in that victory last night. The Wizards score 117 points a game on their home court, and they're led by Bradley Beal, who's just shy of averaging 33 points a game. Getting points on the board certainly not a problem for this Washington team. Now, Russell Westbrook's averaging nearly 20 a game himself. Keep an eye on Russ here today, as he is currently listed as questionable, although you got to think he'd want to win one against his former team. Now, total-wise, Washington is 8-4 to the over at the Capital One Arena, 6-4 to the over in their last 10 meetings with Houston. Meanwhile, the Rockets saw 2 out of their last 3 get over the line themselves. I'm going to lean toward the home team. Give me the Washington Wizards minus 1.5 and the over 228. Next contest, it is going to be Hawks versus the Knicks, 7:30 East. The Hawks are laying 2.5 on the road. Numbers 217. Juice to the under. The Hawks are currently on a 3-game losing streak. Just 1-6 straight up in their last 7. Not playing their greatest basketball at the moment here. Atlanta's in the bottom 10 in offensive field goal percentage. And they also failed to cover the point spread in 5 out of their last 7 ball games as well. Rondo and Dunn are out today. Tony Snell is questionable. They're taking on a New York squad who won their last 2 straight themselves, and they also posted a record of 5-1 against the spread in their last 6. Now, defensively, New York makes it nearly impossible to score against them. The Knicks lead the NBA defensively in points allowed and defending the 3-ball. They're also first in the association in defensive field goal percentage as well. No real surprise there. Now, Julius Randle scoring 22 points a game along with 11 boards and 5 assists. Meanwhile, R.J. Barrett scoring over 16 points a night himself. 6 rebounds, 3 assists for the starting guard. Now, total-wise, oddly enough, the Knicks went 6-3 to the over in their last 9 ball games, hosting the Hawks at MSG. Meanwhile, Atlanta saw their last 4 straight games get over the line themselves. I'm going to lean toward the underdog New York Knicks, plus 2.5, and the over 217. Next contest, Cavaliers versus the Warriors, 10 p.m. East. The Warriors are minus 8.5 with the total at 225 flat. Now, I am a little bit concerned about this larger number here, but Golden State's won 2 out of their last 3 ball games, and they find themselves with a 600 win percentage on their home court. The Warriors are starting to return a little bit here to their dynastic form. They rank in the top 10 in the NBA in home scoring, top 10 in shooting the 3-ball on their home court as well. Once again, kind of returning to those glory days, being very prolific offensively. Now, Steph Curry scoring just under 30 points a game along with 5 rebounds and 5 assists. Meanwhile, Andrew Wiggins is scoring 17 a night along with 4 boards and a couple of assists himself. Meanwhile, defensively, the Warriors are in the top 10 in defending the 3-ball at home. And they actually lead the NBA in home defensive field goal percentage. Now, they're taking on a terrible Cleveland team right now, who's currently in the middle of a 7-game losing streak. and they gave up 119 points or more in all 7 of those losses. Just a complete catastrophic breakdown here. And even worse for Cleveland backers, the Cavs have failed to cover the point spread in their last 10 straight contests, and they rank dead last in the association in road scoring. Now, one final thing to note here about the Cavs, it's kind of clear that their Achilles heel this season has been their performance on the road. They've got a road win percentage of just .272, and they covered the point spread in just 3 out of those 14 road games. Now, total-wise, 6 out of Cleveland's last 9 contests stayed under the number, throwing out the Clipper game. Meanwhile, Golden State went 6-3 to the under in their last 9 ball games themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Golden State Warriors -8.5 in the under 225. All right, next matchup, it is going to be Heat Clippers, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Let's try that again. The Clippers are -3.5 at home. Numbers 220. And if you like the Heat and an upset on the road here, they're plus $1.90 for some money line cash. But despite a handful of solid performances over the past handful of games, Miami's really struggled against the number over the past few weeks or so. They're just 3-7 against the spread in their last 10 ball games. And they're also winning just 20% of their ball games when catching plus money this year. The problem area for Miami has been scoring. They're averaging just 105 points a game when they travel, and they also make just 32% of their three-pointers in that same category. One more thing to note, Miami's also in the bottom 3 in defensive rebounding as well. Now, Dragic and Silva are out. Vincent is questionable, and they're taking on a Clipper team who's on a 3-game winning streak themselves. And they've played some very good basketball despite the absence of Paul George. LA currently leads the NBA in shooting the 3-ball, and they're also first in the association in defensive rebounding, really just getting the job done on both ends of the court. Now keep an eye on Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. Both are listed as questionable or doubtful for tonight's contest. Kind of differing reports everywhere. Although, with that in mind, I do think that LA's 108 points a game defensively is certainly enough to keep this team in the game, regardless of if those two guys play or not. Now, total-wise, the Clippers saw 7 out of their last 10 meetings with Miami stay under the line. And also with the likely chance we could see one or both of LA's top scorers sitting this one out, I think the scoring would definitely end up being impacted, even more if that occurred. Now, Miami on the other side, they saw their last 3 straight stay under the total themselves, 6-2 to the under in their last 8. I'm going to lean toward the LA Clippers -3.5 in the under 220. And with that, we're going to dive into our next and final matchup of the show. I'm talking about the Nets versus the Kings, 10 p.m. Eastern tip-off at the Golden One Center. The Brooklyn Nets are -4 on the road, totals 239. Now, the Nets are on a 2-game winning streak, first in the NBA in scoring and offensive field goal percentage. Kyrie Irving scoring 27 a game along with 4 rebounds and 5 assists. Meanwhile, James Harden's getting 23 a night with his new team, 8 boards and nearly a dozen assists a game for the multi-time All-Star. Now, the Nets score over 123 points a night when they travel, and they're making 40% of their 3 balls in that same category. Now, Kevin Durant's been listed as out, although DeAndre Jordan, he's been upgraded to probable, so that's definitely good news for Brooklyn backers. Now, they're taking on a Kings squad who, well, they lost their last 3 straight, and they also failed to cover the number in all 3 of those contests. Now, the Kings have struggled at the Golden One Center, winning just 7 of 16 on their home court, and they're covering in only 37% of their home games. Once again, 37% of their home games. The Kings give up 121 points a game as the official home team, and they're dead last in defending the 3-ball in that same category. Now, total-wise, Sacramento's 4-2 to the over in their last 6, 11-5 to the over on their home court. Meanwhile, the Nets saw 7 out of their last 9 get over the line themselves, 9-3 to the over in their road games. I'm going to lean toward the Brooklyn Nets -4 in the over 239. And with that, guys, we're going to dive into our quick pick recap, which are all the picks I made for this video in about 30 seconds or less, or maybe a little bit more for your convenience. And with that, guys, I'm going to lean toward the Washington Wizards -1.5 over 228. The New York Knicks +2.5 over 217. Golden State Warriors -8.5 under 225. LA Clippers -3.5 under 220. And before I give you my next and final matchup for the show, one final reminder that we are 4-0 in our last 4 $1.99 daily best plays on my website. 7-1 straight up in our last 8 picks in that same category. Give me the Brooklyn Nets -3 in the over 239. And is it the Nets -3? Nets -4. Yeah, that's what I thought. Nets -4 in the over 239. And with that, guys, we're going to dive into some shout-outs to our top 10 YouTube commenters over the past couple of days or so. Shout out to Jason Wonderland, DJ Wavy, LeBron Games, Milwaukee Boy, Dat Wong, Isaiah Moore, Peak McMaster, Divioso1. Shout out to Maya Doan. And last but certainly not least, got to give a shout out to my good friend, Andrew Graham. All right, thank you guys. That's going to do it for me. Got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, happy Monday to you. Best of luck to you. And have a good one now.